Intifada has its roots in Arabic, with the word Intifada meaning uprising or shaking off. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the term gained prominence during the First Palestinian Intifada, which began in December 1987. The spark that ignited the flame was a tragic accident on December the 8th, 1987. An Israeli truck driver crashed into a row of Palestinian cars at the Erez checkpoint, killing four Palestinians and injuring several others. The news spread like wildfire, and soon a crowd of Palestinians gathered at the scene, furious and grieving. As the crowd grew, so did the anger. Palestinians began throwing Molotov cocktails and stones at Israeli soldiers who responded with tear gas and live ammunition. The protest quickly escalated and the first Intifada had begun. The Israeli military responded with force, leading to a large number of Palestinian casualties. According to reports, between December 1987 and December 1993, over 1,162 Palestinians were killed and more than 1 lakh were injured. This was not an isolated incident, but rather a culmination of decades of occupation and frustration. The Liquid Party's victory in 1977, led by Menachem Begin, marked a significant shift in Israeli politics with increased settlement activity and a harder stance on Palestinian issues. The Israeli attacks on Lebanon in the early 1980s, particularly the 1982 Lebanon War, further exacerbated tensions. Palestinians responded with guerrilla warfare and rocket attacks, while the Palestinian Liberation Organization was seen as lukewarm in its response by many Palestinians. A new cadre of young activists emerged, challenging PLO's leadership and calling for more strong action. The international community took notice of the Intifada and the United Nations stepped in. UN Resolution 607, passed on January the 5th, 1988, called on Israel to refrain from deporting Palestinian civilians. UN Resolution 608, passed on January the 14th, 1988, reiterated this call and demanded that Israel comply. As the Intifada raged on, the world watched. The Madrid Conference of 1991 marked a paradigm shift, bringing together Israeli and Palestinian leaders to negotiate a peaceful resolution. The conference held talks, and the Intifada eventually subsided. The first Intifada officially ended with the signing of the Oslo Accords in 1993, marking a significant shift in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. While the road ahead would be long and challenging, the Intifada had brought the Palestinian issue to the forefront of the international attention, and a new era of negotiations had begun. However, just when protests by Palestinians looked like subsiding, another series of protests was triggered by the provocation of Israel. The Second Intifada, also known as the Al-Aqsa Intifada, began on September the 28th, 2000. The spark that reignited the flame was a provocative visit by Ariel Sharon, the then Israeli opposition leader, to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, a site holy to both Jews and Muslims. Sharon's visit, accompanied by hundreds of Israeli police and security personnel, was seen as a deliberate provocation by many Palestinians. The visit to the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, a sacred site in Islam, was perceived as an attempt to assert Israeli control over the area. Palestinians responded with outrage, and protests erupted across the West Bank and Gaza Strip. The Israeli military, as usual, responded with force, leading to a massive number of Palestinian casualties. During this period, the Hamas movement, which had been gaining popularity among Palestinians, emerged as a major force in the resistance against Israeli occupation. Hamas military wing, Al-Qassam brigades, carried out attacks against Israeli targets. The Second Intifada lasted for several years, resulting in the immense suffering of the Palestinian people. The conflict highlighted the deep-seated issues between Israelis and Palestinians, and the need for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. In all of this, Hamas emerged as a significant force in Palestinian politics after the Palestine Liberation Organization showed pragmatism in 1988 by reconciling with Israel and the West. Hamas' rise can be attributed to its stance as a resistance movement that refused to compromise on Palestinian rights. Furthermore, in 2017, Hamas introduced a new charter, which many saw as a shift towards a more pragmatic approach. The charter acknowledged the state of Palestine within the 1967 borders while still calling for resistance against the Israeli occupation. This move was seen as an attempt to rebrand Hamas as a more moderate force. Hamas has also played a positive role in Palestinian society. The organization has provided social services, including healthcare, education, and welfare programs to Palestinians in Gaza. Hamas' ideology is rooted in Palestinian nationalism and Islam, with the organization's primary goal being to liberate Palestine from Israeli occupation. According to various reports, Hamas social services have improved the lives of many Palestinians in Gaza. Palestinian unarmed resistance continues, with many activists and organizations working towards a peaceful resolution to the conflict. According to a study by the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research in 2002, 71% of Palestinians supported peaceful resistance. Despite these challenges, Palestinian unarmed resistance remains an important part of the struggle for Palestinian rights.